I don't have a college degree, I have no certifications, and I had no friends in the industry. Yet I've worked at some of the highest levels at some of the top tech companies in the world, including Microsoft, Twitter, and Salesforce. So here's the problem. You want a great career, or maybe you want a better career. Maybe you have one, you just don't like it. What I think you want is more money, better flexibility, more options, a job that you enjoy, a company that you appreciate, a career so you can take care of your family and feel good about yourself. But you know what's really cool about the tech industry is that you can change jobs, you can shift jobs, you can try something different. A lot of people will say get a bachelor's degree because you're kind of sold that if you get the bachelor's degree, everybody's going to want to hire you. But a lot of people will realize that that's not entirely true, right? A bachelor's degree is a tool. It can help you. But if you just get it and you sit back and wait for the jobs to rain from the sky, you might be disappointed. Because a lot of times people get in this spiral where they get very educated and they think that's going to take them to the next level. But you got to do more than that. So let's talk about a couple of myths first. A lot of times when you get rejected or you're applying for jobs and you don't get it, immediately you go to qualifications. I'm not qualified enough. And then you just start trying to get more qualified. Here's the deal. Especially if you're trying to get into an entry-level job, do you really think your employer expects you to be an expert? It's impossible. You haven't had the job. Sometimes the problem is not your qualifications at all. It's simply because nobody knows who you are. Now that sounds weird, but think about that for a minute. You apply for a job at Microsoft for a software engineer role. Guess what? 500 other people applied just like you. So what's the problem? Is it your qualifications? No. I don't know who you are. If you applied 2 minutes too late, you went from being number 3 in the pile to being number 406. And guess what? I'm not going to see your resume ever. So that's a problem that you should solve. And another thing that people get stuck on is they think the smartest people get the jobs. This is why they kind of stay in the study mode. Imposter syndrome, again, starts to creep in. I need to know more. That's why I'm not getting these jobs. Well, knowledge is absolutely important. Knowledge leads to skill. But let's compare this for a minute to being a singer. Now, singers, just by the title, you should have to have a pretty amazing voice to be a successful singer, right? Because all singers have incredible voices, right? They don't. Matter of fact, only a small subsection of singers actually have amazing voices. Most of them actually have okay voices. Some of them can't even sing because you think your job is a singer. So you think you need to just take classes and become the best singer in the world. That's actually not your job. Your job is to create great music. Sometimes that's not even about having a good voice at all. Sometimes that's about message. Sometimes that's just about being fun and easy to listen to. Sure, if you're Adele, your voice is so amazing that that's why you're popular, but the majority of people in that industry don't have phenomenal voices, but they're successful because they understand the game is not just about having a fantastic voice. There's a lot involved. Tech is very much like that. Yes, there's the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world that are incredibly intelligent, and that's why they are where they are. But the vast majority of people that are successful in tech, it's not because they have these amazing intellects. So the question becomes then, what other skill sets are important to make you successful? You should focus on doing that also. 2 keys to transition and growth. And this is an order of importance, and my order might surprise you a little bit. Step number 1, build your reputation. Here's the deal. Nobody knows who you are. If you spend all this time getting smart and you just get in line, you may still never be seen. So if people know who you are, hiring managers, recruiters, they come looking for you, and that type of exchange is very different because you're in control. They are interested in you. The more people you know, the more opportunities you'll be exposed to. Because think about what happens before that job is even posted. Somebody came up with a plan and said, you know what? I think we need 3 new engineers. And then they posted the position. But that conversation actually happened way earlier than that job post ever was thought of. I've got work to do. I don't have 10 years to hire for people. So what do? I think about all the people I know in my network, think about all the people that I've worked with in the past, and then I solicit them. You never have to apply for a job because people are always proactively coming for you. When people interview you, they want you to have the job if your reputation precedes you. Because companies understand that we are the most valuable asset to them. Every job that I've had came from LinkedIn. Why? Think about what LinkedIn is. They sell licenses to recruiters and hiring managers so that they can search LinkedIn's database so they can find you. That is the purpose of LinkedIn. Are you findable? When I look at your profile page, is it obvious to me what you're qualified for or even what you're interested in? Twitter can be used the same way. You can meet people, network with people, build a brand, and they'll notice you. The first part of this is be known. That's people knowing who you are. I teach people how to do this to build a brand and a presence on LinkedIn. Twitter found me on LinkedIn. Peloton found me on LinkedIn. Microsoft Xbox found me on LinkedIn because of posts that I wrote. The first time you post on LinkedIn, nobody's going to see it. Why would they? They don't know who you are. But if you're consistent and you share Just things that you're learning. You don't have to be an expert at all. Just share what you're learning consistently. People that are also interested in whatever domain you're sharing about will start to follow you. They'll start to care about your journey. They'll connect with you. And eventually what you're doing is you're building an audience of people that care about your career. You'll start to become known. That's what this is. You are investing in your brand so that you don't have to apply for jobs. The other thing is to know people. Now, this is the other side of this. This is you actively and proactively meeting people, joining communities, and getting to know people. The number one thing you should do if you're trying to, let's say, be a software engineer in the industry is that you should have a ton of friends that are software engineers. Because imagine if you had dozens and dozens and dozens of people that you knew in the industry that you were trying to join. Just by you knowing them, they will give you indirect mentorship. So imagine you did this for months. You regularly met strangers, you built your network, you tried to help people. Now all of a sudden you know hundreds and hundreds of people across the industry that you want to join. You will naturally be exposed to so many more opportunities because these people know you. Step 2. Now this is the part that most people jump straight to, but I say this a little bit differently. I say learn professionally. Everyone tells you to build a portfolio, but I say what's the difference between a portfolio and a real business? Think about all the successful companies that have ever existed, especially tech companies, right? Google, Microsoft, Amazon. They were all started by people just trying something, a group of people trying something, and they were making no money. And depending on their story, at some point, they became successful. Well, what's the difference between that and you doing that? If you try to do that same portfolio, this time all I'm saying is go get a business license or find a couple of folks that are in the same journey as you and go do this together. But do it with the intent of selling it, whatever it is. Find a problem that's worth solving and go try to solve it together. Even if it is not successful, that's okay. Most businesses are not successful. Most startups fail. But the experience that you get by doing that is real. Would you say that the early years of Microsoft didn't count? Arguably, they were the most important years. So go do the work, go make the mistakes. Don't be afraid of making a mistake. It's part of it. And now you have your first job. And yes, it counts. Learn professionally. Like most people, what they do is they stay on the left side. They stay on the learn side. They take courses, books, tutorials, boot camps, programs. But as long as you're just learning, that's just practice. As you're building and learning things, share it. Half the time, especially for junior roles, you're getting paid based on passion. Their trust that you're going to do a good job because they can't hire you on experience because you probably don't have a lot of that. But if as you're learning and studying and sharing and helping, you are building a public reputation that will help you land those jobs in the future. Most people have never been an entrepreneur. Now, the goal was to stand out, right? If you are an entrepreneur, you will stand out. The way you think will be different. The way you move will be different because everyone else around you has been waiting for someone to tell them what to do. This is how I'm different. I went from being a senior PM that owned part of a website to owning all of product management of the entire platform team at Peloton for, at the time, a $40 billion company. And I did this in 3 years. So once you're in tech, and then think about what that does. If you are smart with your money, smart with your choices, you can retire early and become financially independent very, very quickly. The days of having a good, comfortable job, those days are over. The top tech companies of today will not be the top tech companies of tomorrow. So I have a special offer for you. I'd like to be your head coach. We've talked about building reputation. We've talked about learning professionally. But I understand that some of this stuff might be new. It might be a little bit difficult to figure out, well, how exactly do I do this step by step? I'm the founder of MentorMesh.io, which is a community of lifelong learners. And we help each other level up. And recently, I just launched a PM Foundations Bootcamp. What this bootcamp is going to do is teach you about product management and program management. We're going to help you build reputation and help you learn professionally. You're going to be taught by top tech professionals across the industry, and it's going to be more than just the basics. We're actually going to teach you all of those things when it comes to building reputation, starting your own company so you can get the experience that you need in order to get to the next level. Things like fixing your resume, fixing your LinkedIn profile, working on mock interviews so you can be prepared for that interview process. But the key to success for MentorMesh programs has always been our engaged mentorship community. Whether it's now during your learning stage or later when you're already having landed the job, having a team of mentors that are there to support you, give you advice, help you with your first 90 days on your job can be just as critical as in the beginning. So throughout your career, we always want someone more senior or with different experience that can help us with our career journey. This is not something you have to do alone. A lot of boot camps out there will charge you $10,000 to $20,000 to teach you entry-level skills, and they primarily focus on the learning part. Well, at MentorMesh, it's more than just about those foundational learnings. It's about building community. It's about building reputation. It's about learning professionally, so the experience that you get counts. Most boot camps are not taught by someone like me. It's typically somebody that has maybe 10 minutes of experience. But I've got 17 years in tech, and I'm going to be your head coach. I'm also going to have coaches from around the industry that currently work at Google, Twitter, Salesforce, Microsoft, and these types of coaches are going to help you on your journey. We're going to provide mentorship and advice throughout your career. Here's what I think my boot camp is worth. But I'm going to cut that price in half. And since you watched this video, I'm going to give you an exclusive discount. This is not like any other boot camp experience out there. No boot camp comes with an engaged mentorship community. So I hope many of you join me. Links will be in the description, so click it and let's get to work.